We're being joined by our second guest of the evening. She is newly signed Bellator MMA Featherweight, Miss Brittney Elkin. Brittney is, coming off a first-round TKO victory and slated to make her Bellator debut July 14th, Bellator 181. And do we have an opponent, or are they just going to pick a name out of a hat and tell you before weigh-ins?
When I signed the contract, I had an opponent. The opponent that I had was released by Women's MMA Rankings today. It wasn't in my contract to let me release it, so I'm just keeping quiet. But the one Women's MMA Rankings announced is the one that I was agreed upon.
Gotcha. Me and them had some words a few months ago, so he got a little butthurt that I was publicly telling him to stop putting out clickbait articles, but whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I just haven't said it.
Remember when Jessica and Lauren were having their little Twitter words, like these websites that turn like entire articles out of back and forth Twitter conversations between fighters trying to put fights together. That's not reporting. That's not an article. I can go up on, I can pull up their social media accounts and look them up. So I said something about it. I'm like, listen, dude, like that's not even an article. If you want to go call Lauren or Jessica up and get a quote from them, that's different.
Yeah.
So he got bent out of shape and blocked me on all forms of social media. But I digress. We got some more fun stuff to talk about, anyways. Obviously. The getting the call to Bellator is big. You were waiting for one of these opportunities, regardless if it happened to be with Invicta or UFC or Bellator. Bellator winds up putting the offer on the table, and I'm really liking what how that featherweight division is kind of shaping up. We just had Amber Liverock on last week. She doesn't have an opponent yet, but you have I think another. You're not even the only featherweight fight on the card either. I think there's who is it? It's Alexis Dufresne and
Amanda Bell.
Yeah, that's it. I should have known that considering how much I've had Amanda on here.
Yeah, they just told me not to announce my opponent that I signed for, and since it's such a huge opportunity and I'm
like
brand new in it. Yeah, I'm like, I'll just be quiet and go forward. So.
But at least it makes you, if you're just a fan looking in, from the outside looking in, you're like, man, they're gonna wait till the last minute to give her a fight. I mean, that would kind of suck, and you don't know who you're fighting. But they're gonna take care of you over at Bellator. The bottom line, but you want to do what your boss is telling you to do. But this is a big step up. How you feeling about it? I know you have to feel great, but how else are you feeling?
I mean, it was such an honor, because I keep on telling people, when you first start MMA, you're pretty certain that your basics are around, a few years ago, and then you tell all your friends that, they're going to call, and then you keep on saying it, and you kind of sound like a broken record by the end of it. And, it's funny because you just have to kind of believe in yourself, because everybody's like, all right, well, whenever, and it just was, it made me cry snot bubbles when it actually came true, just really proud. And I've been doing just strictly jiu-jitsu based, I train all around all the time, but I've been performing because I work for Fight to Win promotion. So I did 6 Fight to Win pros last year, and I only lost 1 by decision, by sub-attempt decision, but I've been I've had something crazy, I took double gold pan. I mean, it just everything's an honor that I feel if you get to step on a stage and be paid for it. And something like Bellator, is always a dream. You always sit there and think about it, and then it happens, and I'm really blessed and just not taking it for granted, and coming 100%. I got the call 4 weeks. Yeah, I got it 4.5 weeks ago, and I'm within the 10 pounds of, my weight cut week. I'm right in where I want to be, and I was 178 then because I was being a little lazy, so I cut a lot of weight in 4 weeks, and just feel really mentally ready for this. I'm ready to take it on.
Yeah, and another thing too, it's like if you're a fan looking from the outside looking in, if you go to ShareDog or Tapology or one of those sites, you're like, man, she hasn't fought since June 25th of 2016. It's been over a year, but you've been pretty active nonetheless. And
I've been very active.
The fan doesn't understand.
I've been doing a lot of professional jiu-jitsu bouts all over the country. I performed in Austin, Dallas, Nashville, can't even remember them all, Denver, and I did one somewhere else too. Philly.
Okay, yeah.
And I don't know, I just dominated all those, and then I done Worlds and Pan American all last year. I double golded at Pan, and then in between I always kept my MMA, class, everything that I usually went to, I went to. I just wasn't getting many great offers. A lot of the girls that are willing to take, me on, or something that's like a pretty matched bout, was already signed with somebody, and I was kind of just sitting in the shallow water, so I just kept busy. And just like I said, it's an opportunity that I've thought about since I started, so I'm just ready to go for it.
Yeah, man. With everything that's going on around in the sport too, like you're starting to see the larger weight classes starting to get some love with Bellator. Bringing the women back and investing in it. We're about to see Chris Cyborg finally fight for the UFC's women's featherweight title. Even though I can't really give that championship feel, considering she's still the only featherweight that they have on the roster.
Yeah.
Is that another reason that kind of played into where you wound up going, considering what Bellator is doing with the women they have? Like, even Amber. Amber was an Invicta fighter, and she just kind of feels that she's going to be more active fighting with Bellator than she would be if she would have stayed with Invicta.
Well, I never had the opportunity to get on the Invicta stage, so I don't have a personal experience. I've just watched a lot of my friends go through it all. And I guess I could just say that I am impressed that Bellator keeps bringing these girls on. I fought Gabby before, I fought Amanda before. They both just recently signed with Bellator within like the last year. I'm not quite certain on their sign date. And then you just watch, and they have quite a few. And yeah, I mean, I'm super happy about it. Any league that's willing to give the ladies that put in all that time, the spotlight and a platform to work on, I mean, I'm going to support that. I really don't know who does it more, because the thing is on Invicta, it's just highlighted all women, so to form their card is strictly based on all women, not like one or two bouts. So it's pretty obvious why they only have so many a year, So I wouldn't hold it against them that they didn't schedule enough. They have to fill a card of only women, and even if we are growing, there's still so many that are all the time. I'm sure it's a hard roster to work with, begin with, and at least they're lenient enough that even if you're signed with them and something in the future that brings you ahead, they allow you to go to other ones. So I still think that Invicta is super supportive and ranks up high with.
Oh no, and I didn't want to make it seem like I didn't feel that Invicta is supporting their athletes. It's just sometimes that with the amount of events that they put on, you guys are kind of almost literally like fighting with each other to kind of get noticed to be able to get a fight put together for you. It's not that I don't think anyone feels that Invicta's not supporting their fighters. It's just sometimes there's other opportunities that kind of might work out better for you. Not to say that they wouldn't let you do anything else, considering with they've let other fighters have opportunities outside of their promotion. And look at Andrea Lee. She's freaking LFA's flyweight champion, but she still hasn't even fought for a title under Invicta. So I mean, it all varies. They're not going to stop you from gaining opportunities, and I actually think Bellator is even starting to rival that, because they have many of opportunities. maybe they couldn't find you an MMA fight, but hey, we have someone in your weight class for one of the Bellator kickboxing shows. Pretty sure that's something you would entertain to keep yourself busy as you're waiting for an MMA fight, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think that just I wasn't saying like you were saying anything negative about Invicta. I was just trying to point out.
No. I just wanted to clarify that. That's all.
Yeah. One of the things why Invicta puts on, which I assume, I don't really know anybody personally, but they just feel, their whole card is just women. So to form a whole card, I mean, if they only did 3 fights, I'm sure they'd have more of them more often. But Bellator, the fact that they give so many options, I'm just really excited to be a part of it, and I would be proud to be on any of them, and just it just happened to be them that called, so I'm just gonna do my best there, and then look into the stars, and whatever they tell me is next.
Yeah, and Brittany, I wanted to touch on this, because I think with the Invicta, you have a different type of fan base than you do with the UFC. I think the Invicta fan base, they can appreciate a female as a fighter, and not just as if she's pretty or if she's not pretty. And this is a big deal that we're having to deal with lately, with Felice coming out, breaking down and crying about, I'm not pretty enough. And I'm like, if she doesn't think she's pretty enough, I don't know what world we're living in. But it's just like, when do you think it's going to ever happen with, like, having a full fan base, just being able to appreciate the fighter, not by their looks but by their skill set? Or you think that's never going to happen?
Oh, I think it's definitely going to happen. I mean, I think, sometimes people have personal insecurities, and they think that that's the reason that's holding them back or something. Who knows what the promotion that's holding the markability accounts and or whatever. You're going to battle that anywhere, I mean, your marketability brings you forward or not. I don't think it's necessarily pretty, because I know a lot of people that conform and aren't, and they do well, it's just, I think that it's just something you face when you put yourself in the limelight. You face criticism, you face, some of your own insecurities get brought forward, and sometimes that's the fact, you got to figure out what works for you, and you notice that, you're like, fuck that, and you move on. I just don't let shit like that get to me,
Now you have a Twitter account. It's BooJet86.
Yep.
You want to follow her, please, fight fans out there. What's the craziest thing that somebody's ever said to you?
I've gotten a lot. I have gotten so many. I've gotten a lot. I happen to be like whatever fantasy for men have or Amazon women. Like I get a lot of that stuff. But I think
Wonder Woman's my favorite movie.
Yeah, it makes me kind of laugh. I had one guy, and it's my favorite one. And I put it all up, and I just crossed out his name, but he asked me if he could ask me a request for $400, and I was like, "Are you creepy?" And I was like, and he's like, "What?" I was like, "What is your request?" And he said that he wanted to sit on my abs and watch me flex my biceps. So you get a little bit of creeps going on out there, and it's actually comical to me, because I'm like, fucking dude ever walks into the gym and wants to sit on my abs.
I said this to Andrea Lee a few weeks ago. I said all you should get together and go to like one of these sites. Even one of the sites I was just talking about, how they put these weird articles. It's kind of not really news, but you all should get together and like screenshot some of this crazy nonsense and just have like your like a women's fighters weirdo of the month column, and you guys.
That'd be pretty funny.
Weirdo.
I'm just saying, like, I just think this would be a good way to kind of have a deterrent, because other than blocking these guys and telling these people that they're utter creeps, there's no real deterrent to stop them from doing this. So I just think let's turn them into internet articles. It would probably be a good way to get them to stop doing, because maybe when their wife or their mom winds up seeing it and kind of puts them in their place.
You shouldn't be doing that, Billy.
I have a friend, and she was basically going through her Facebook and deleting all the guys that wasn't her boyfriend. And I was like, listen, I know why you're doing this. I'm just telling you, what you should do to stop having these weird messages in your inbox is screenshotting them and tag them and their family to get them to deter from that type of behavior.
It'll either stop them or encourage them because they get the attention from the fighter,
Well, no, that's why you don't give them you don't give them the actual attention. You just kind of let your fan base do what they want to do with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because I don't enjoy getting harassed by any means, but if I get something funny,
sure.
I laugh my ass off because I'm just like, who the fuck is this person?
Well, no,
and
the one that Roxanne Modafferi put up this week was pretty funny. The guy wants to buy her hair bands.
Her what?
And was saying that he was legit wanted to pay her $15
what was that, Steve?
for
what?
her hair bands, her hair braids.
Oh,
weird. Yeah, it's creepy out there. I mean, the reality is our world is fucking creepy.
Oh, no doubt.
And then men or women or whoever have weird fetishes, and for whatever reason, a lot of their fetishes involve lady fighters.
Sit up. Hey, Brittany, we were discussing earlier about what transpired last night with the main event falling through. As a female fighter, what's your thoughts on that whole ordeal?
I actually know Valentina, and that really, I was in Vegas, and I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. It sucks. I mean, it's, man, I don't want to sit there and speak for somebody and say, you got to do this, because really it is up to the fighter, but to go through all that, to put somebody through that and back out hours before,
well,
I don't know.
I also think that the craziest part about it is that they were basically only gave Valentina $70K. Are you kidding me? She made weight. If you're not going to pay Amanda, then why don't you give it to Valentina, because she was the one that was there. And from what I understood is that she was in the process of cutting weight to get down to 25 in case that the commission would allow Joanna to take that fight on short notice. But here's the thing that really gets me. How is it this time last year we had to go through the John Jones situation? They find somebody at International Fight Week who's in the weight to make the fight happen. They have the fight happen, but they couldn't make this one happen. It makes no sense.
Yeah, that definitely was a shocker. I mean, everybody was looking forward to that fight. There was so much build. It's like.
Man, I was geeked for that fight, because I remember how excited I was for the first fight. And I was remember saying, I'm like, damn, I really wish Valentina had 2 more rounds, because she was definitely getting the better of Amanda, not just on the feet, but on the ground, too. People tend to forget that she was on top of Amanda and was battering her. It wasn't just like she was holding her own and she got her with a couple good punches, and that was basically of it as Amanda was fading. No, they had a really good fight. I really enjoyed the first fight, and that's why I really was looking forward to it. And we can't help everything. The crazy stuff happens in this sport all the time, and I just think it's a bit. People are kind of downplaying some of the stuff that happens behind the scenes. I'm not going to sit there. I already said I'm not going to tell Amanda she should have taken the fight. You're a fighter. You know your body better than anyone. Not being able to breathe out of your sinuses is something that would definitely affect her during the fight, because if you can't keep your mouth closed, you're more susceptible to get hit with that big punch. And fighting somebody like Valentina isn't exactly a walk in the park. She's not, that's not Ronda Rousey. You know what I mean? You have a very well-rounded fighter, so I get where Amanda was coming from, that she wanted to be 100%. No one's 100% when they go in there, but you also want to make sure you're fighting with a deck that is in your favor. If that fight would pass more than 10 minutes, she would have been in a world full of trouble. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, she is a professional fighter. Yes, we expected the fight happen. And what I mentioned to Brad that I think a lot of fans should understand is, what does it say at the bottom of your tickets when you buy it? Card is subject to change.
It's so hard to lose something like that, because really that's what makes them.
They built the whole event around it. I get it.
And it's so good for, to have such a huge fight for women's MMA. I mean, it just keeps bringing more attention to it. So, nobody wants to lose any fight, but the way it went down, who knows what really happened, because anybody can text or say something. It's unfortunate all around. I hurt for the fighters because I know that Amanda's not getting any praise right now on anything from social media or from anybody, and then it hurts for Valentina.
Even the organization, like Dana White's just ripping her.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's what you don't want to see. You want to even if the result was not what would have happened, I mean, it could be challenged again. There's a third thing. I mean, it does happen. I don't know. I don't want to say what I really think because I don't want mine to be quoted, but it definitely was a shocker, and every fighter.
I don't blame you there because you know how media members do. They like to find misquotes and turn your words around at any second. So anything you want to keep back, Brittany, I'm not going to hold it against you.
Brittany, I want to do that to you. I'm the one that cuts all this stuff up, so I want to do that to you.
Yeah, no, it's
but
just
I don't want you to say it either, though. So.
Yeah,
good job.
It was disheartening, and it doesn't resonate woman fighter because those opportunities, for example, I've been in MMA. Not all my fights are shown because they weren't all commissioned. It was before the commission was built around my home state of Wyoming and South Dakota, So, I've been in for 9 years now, and, all these women that are sitting there waiting for their opportunity, and one such as that to let slip through, simply slip away, it's just disheartening, and it doesn't resonate well with any fighter, any woman fighter, any fan, it just sucks, So other than that, it's just in my mind, I'd give Valentina the win in my head, and that's how I feel about it, but I don't, I don't know what happens with Amanda that day. I'm not Amanda. I've never met Amanda, and it sucks. No win. I mean, nobody, fans included, get to sit there on the edge of their seat and get to see what happened. Ronda didn't have the best mental going into that, but she at least faced Amanda.
Yeah, you can't knock. I mean, if Amanda Nunes would have fought Ronda Rousey when she was ripping through people, that might have been a different fight.
Exactly.
I mean, because I know I said Shevchenko's no Ronda Rousey, but Ronda Rousey was pretty badass up until the point she lost.
Oh no, I wasn't. I didn't.
No,
yeah,
I know you did it. Steve
Brad,
said it.
I'm with you there. I'm definitely with you there, Brad, because I kind of felt that her game plan for Amanda was absolutely horrendous. Why would you try to even remotely try to stand with that woman? Even if you pull guard, so what?
Yep. I think that it can happen like that where, sometimes people forget that they have this incredible background and skill level in something, and they try to match somebody else's incredible background and skill level, which what made them get there and what made them the elitist sport that they are, or the elitist athlete they are in the sport is their, their thing. They should be true to themselves. So I think Ronda just tried to be something she wasn't in that fight and try to be the best striker in the world.
It reminds me of when Josh Koscheck found that he had a right hand, and he just decided that he could just throw that right hand and would land against anybody, and then once he got in there with the likes of George St. Pierre and whatnot, he kind of figured out that he can't just do that anymore.
Well,
yeah.
It's just like any entertainment.
Kind of fall into that. But
yeah, with say for instance music, when your favorite band first starts off, they don't have the money, they don't have the fame, they bust their ass, they make beautiful music, but when they start getting the money and they get the fame, they kind of lose that edge, they kind of lose that drive to create better and better music. And I think that Ronda made it. She got the movies, she got the modeling, she got a lot of things thrown at her and a lot of money thrown at her real fast. It makes you think, hey, I don't have to get beat up all the time anymore.
Yeah. I think that Ronda was also convinced that she was the best striker in the world when really she was the best at what she was best at. And, when, that's why you got to be careful. Not everybody knows that, you got to be true to yourself. Today, like in my own little like private downtime, I sat there and was like, all right, I'm going to listen to everybody that's working with me. I'm going to take advice well. I'm going to be open to their criticism, but I know what I'm good at, and I know how to do these things. And what works for me might not work for somebody else. So I'll listen to advice, but when it comes down to it, I got to be true to myself. And sometimes I think people need to listen to themselves a little bit. Like I think Ronda's mistake there was just, writing "I'm the world's best striker" on her hands, and then believing it and falling away from like what she was the world's best at. And
amen to that.
And so I mean, you never know what's going on. There's so much pressure. I mean, I have not made it to the point of a main event UFC title bout yet, and so I cannot compare, with my experiences. I can only try to relate. And what I think is that I'm not going to say exactly what I think what happened to Amanda, but it's the best way to say it is it doesn't resonate well with anybody because everybody feels like there's more to the story. If there was something, if there was something else, like everything there, it's like when anybody gets exposed in some kind of scandal, they're like, "But what the fuck did you really do?" But let's say what you really did, and you keep hearing a roundabout, and you keep hearing a roundabout, and you keep hearing an excuse, but you never really hear like what the answer you're looking for because nobody wants to confess that. And it is hard to lie publicly because when you get called out, you will be called out big time. So you always hear excuses or reasons, but you never hear the answer you're looking for in that. And that's why it doesn't resonate well with anybody because they're just not believable at that second. I don't know. That's my just personal opinion.
Absolutely good. Hey, we're allowed to have our personal opinions, regardless if it's me, if it's a fan, if it's a fighter, it's another promoter. We all have our takes in it because we're invested in some way, shape, or form. So
yeah,
Well, at the end, I guess you're glad that people care one way or another. They could just be like, oh well, who gives a crap? But they do care. So here we are. But as we get ready to wrap this one up, Brittany, you've been on here before. You know how we do this. We throw the proverbial microphone over to you. Anyone you would like to thank, training partners, teammates, shoot at your social media sites, any sponsors you might have, charities you work with, anything like that. The time is yours.
Well, I want to thank Bellator for the opportunity to recognize that I'm on that level. It means a lot to me as a personal person and fighter. And just a huge dream come true. For when I'm 90, I get to tell a cool story. I want to thank, it's funny, when you need help the most, everybody around you just shows up. And I've had so much help. People I never really knew that well came out of the woodwork and just were like, here you go, let's do this, I believe in you. And all those people, there's too many to name, but in the last month, I have just been surrounded with good energy, good vibes, and the people bringing me up. And I've never had a nutritionist before. I've never had, I've never got to go spar at Alpha Male. I've never got to go, do all these awesome experiences. And my last 3 weeks have just been incredible. So there's like probably over 100 people that have just volunteered and taken me places and just given me what they can to help. So I'll individually thank all of them, but many thanks. And I know that I've told them already because I'm that kind of person. And then I did land a pretty awesome sponsor. I only have one right now because I've fallen out of the MMA top line scene for the last year, but BJJTs is sponsoring me, and they're I've kind of always put my stuff together because I am a broke ass bitch fighter that's got a kid and 2 jobs, so BJJTs gave me my first official banner that will be behind me in the cage, and that's just another thanks for making me complete. It makes you just feel like a complete. You're not lacking something. All those things that come together in the last week are just really motivating and inspiring and life-changing. So BJJTs is huge. And then my son, he has put up with a lot his whole life. I started this when he was 2.5, 3 years old, right around there, and he's 11. So it's probably 2.5, and it's just it's incredible that he's just a happy-go-lucky kid that brings me back home. And my family, my mom doesn't even talk to me for the last 2 weeks. I feel for her heart because she's so worried. You know, she just loves me so much. And all the people that, you know, just look out for me and give me praise and keeps me going. And I hope to not disappoint and give a good performance. And I know I will because I'm ready for that. So.
Well, you know me, I couldn't wait for this opportunity for you to be able to get you back on here to talk about your debut. It's been a long time coming. You know, we're one of the few people who've been, you know, following you around for quite some time now. So
yeah, I know. Thank you,
couldn't be happy for you for this opportunity.
I should thank you guys too. Thank you for that.
It's definitely our pleasure for real. I mean, it's you know, we get to kind of walk this story along with you in some way. You know, we're happy to be a small part of it. So, you know, keep doing what you're doing. You know, I can't wait to see what you do on the 14th. I'm sure that all due respect to your opponent, that you're coming to put on a performance. So it should be a good one. So guys, make sure you're tuning in on the 14th. Bellator 181. Brittany's going to be she's going to be hunting for sure.
I am, and I thank everybody that's out there and followed me through the whole thing too. So I have some great fans.
Yeah, you know, Corey blows up my
I know.
my
I was just going to mention it up. I was just going to be like, Corey, guys, number one.
Corey blows up my Twitter every couple of weeks if he thinks Brittany hasn't gotten
Corey
enough love.
Corey supports so many
media.
people. I'm so lucky he's
dude,
a fan of mine.
I've lost count. Yeah, it's just it's.
He's a very good guy for our community.
Yeah, he's one of the guys that is worth it's worth what I feel that what we get back. He's one of the guys that I look and make sure that he enjoys these shows, because he's one of the guys that, you know, why we love to do this is because of guys like him.
Yeah,
so, absolutely.
He's a super fan.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate you for supporting me. And
enjoy the rest of your night. Again, best of skill. Hope both of you guys get out of their injury free. You have a good one.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.